this video, we're going to examine how you can perform basic operations with simple data in a spreadsheet. We'll be looking at addition, subtraction, and just where you can access all the different formulas. As you're beginning in Excel, the number of functions and operations really can be overwhelming at first. I would recommend don't worry about what you don't need. I'm going to show you a few tricks that will help you find some basic formulas that you might be using. Before we get to all that, let's figure out how Excel just does some basic formulas. So let's say I'm going to start by adding up all of our January expenses in this column. So I can select this cell just by clicking in it, and then I'm going to start typing. And so the way you start with basic formulas is always beginning with that equal sign. So we're going to say equal, and then I can think about what am I going to do? Well, I'm doing a sum, so that starts with an S, and you can see it brings up all the different functions that I'm using. So I'm going to choose sum, and then it already starts on the next step, which is adding a parentheses. And so I'm going to be adding cells B2 through, and that's where I use that colon, B4. Now to close the operation, I can hit Tab or Enter and just move my formula over. So I can also take advantage of the Auto Sum button. Notice that the Auto Sum button is on the Formula ribbon as well as on the Home button. So to use the Auto Sum, I can go ahead and select my cells and hit Auto Sum, or I can select the cell I want that to go to and select Auto Sum. Now here's the cool thing that Excel does. Excel knows kind of if I'm in a column, it's going to add those numbers. Let's come over here and say I want to look at all of my travel expenses for the first quarter. Same thing as I did before, and it's going to the left. So it's reading that, oh, well, there's no numbers above that, so she must want the numbers that are in this row, and we'll hit return. The other thing you can do is copy these formulas. So let's say I want the same values down here. I can just pull down, and it's copying those formulas. So if we look at those, there's B2 to D2, B3 to D3, and it just intelligently figures out what we want. Now you might have noticed from our formula bar, there's all kinds of different formulas we can explore. So you can, if you're looking for something specific, scroll through here and try to find them, figure out what you're doing. But there's also this handy insert function. So let's figure this out. So we're going to say, we're going to be right here, and we want to look at our total sales. Or let's say we're going to look at the average of our sales. So I'm going to insert function, and I get this kind of formula builder, and it starts out with what's the most recently used. Well, I'm not sure exactly what I want, but maybe I'm going to start typing. I'm looking for average. Well, there average is. So I'm going to insert function and look at that. It's pulling in my average from those cells, and then I can just click done. And so if you're not sure what function you are looking for, that FX Wizard is a great way to start searching and look at all the information it gives. So you can walk through that. It's like a little function wizard. So let's look at some other common functions that you might want to do. So let's say I want to figure out my expenses. So I'm going to come down here. Basically, I want this number to come down here. A couple of different ways I can do that. Now, if I just tried to copy and paste, it's going to do some strange things. So what is it actually pulling in? Well, it's got a couple of different numbers. So it did some things strangely here. Now, if I wanted to, I could just come up and edit this formula, because really what I want is B2 through B4. Well, if I want to make sure that those strange things didn't happen, what I can do is, instead of just a copy and paste, what I can do is a copy, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to do a special paste. So what I want to do is just paste that formula. And I'm going to hit OK. So another way to get that correct formula in here is we can use the AutoSum, and it's going to start searching for, hey, where do you want? I can just come up here, select those, enter those in. So we've looked at both modifying the selection and making the selection. So either way works as a way to get the correct information you need, and then you can just hit your returner tab. Now, when we look at our profit, what we basically want is to subtract this number. There is no subtract function inside of Excel, but we can use our sum function. So we're going to go ahead and start with our formula. And what we want is our sales, which is B7, minus our expenses, which is B8. And there's our profit. Now we can use that same trick we used before, copy that over, and get all of our profits. So that's a look at how you can quickly access basic functions inside of Excel.